Toby Nankervis has been announced the Richmond captain for 2025, and the rest of the leadership group will be made up of Nathan Broad, Tim Taranto, Tom Lynch, and Jaden Short. First and foremost, a big congratulations to Toby Nankervis on being reappointed skipper for 2025. It reads like it was a pretty extensive process, a combination of both player input and support staff input as well, and they deemed Toby to be the main man to lead them forward. Now, I know there's been obviously a lot of talk, and even we put out our own video sort of speculating about what the captaincy may look like from 2025 onwards. But I do remember even in the video I posted, I did say right from the start that no matter what, whether it was Nank, whether it was Lynch, whether it was Taranto, whoever it was, that whatever the club decides, we'll obviously back in 110% and get right behind them. So I just want to put that out there that Nank, no matter what, mate, you will have our absolute support, and we will back you in, because the club and the players know best. If they think you are the best leader and the man for the job, then that's what we're going with. It's as simple as that. But really, really good to see that the players in particular obviously find Nank to be a good leader for them. There's absolutely zero question in the world that Nank leads by example from a physical standpoint on the field. I think he was number one for us in tackles, clearances, and a whole raft of other stats. But he is an absolute enforcer. And having a ruckman who can lay the amount of tackles that Nank lays that seriously impact contests as well is quite a rare thing. So it's really, really good. And look, I won't hide behind the fact that maybe in Nank's first year or two as captain, he was probably still overstepping the mark a little bit with some discipline issues on field, like giving away 50 metres and free kicks. I think that was just a bit of a combination of him trying to be the enforcer that he wants to be as a captain, but maybe just getting the balance a little bit wrong. Having said that, though, and full credit to him, last year, as bad as the season was from a win-loss perspective, last year was probably the first time that I'd felt that he got the balance quite right. He was not giving away as many free kicks and 50 metres as he was previously, but he was still being able to be his very physical and very enforcing self. Unfortunately, just with the way the list was and the way the season panned out, his leadership probably didn't translate to the rest of the game plan, and people, players weren't kind of jumping on his back and going for this big ride and riding waves of momentum, because we just didn't have it. So it was probably a really difficult year to captain, to be honest. But yeah, to his credit, he led from the front in all of those facets. And I can fully understand why the players would back that. From a media perspective, it's always interesting, isn't it? Because I suppose from the outside looking in, Nank probably comes across as a bit more of an introvert, like not wanting to do the press conferences and things like that. And some people think that is a make or break for captaincy. I don't think it really matters at all, especially from the club's perspective. As long as he's able to manage those players and the relationships behind closed doors, leads at training, leads on game day, the press conference stuff, who cares? Anyone can do that. It's a bit of a non-issue, I think. So a couple of new inclusions into the leadership group, Nathan Broad and Tim Taranto. Obviously, Broady's been around for a while, knocks back that big offer from the Kangaroos this off-season, and was really, I suppose, a catalyst in some ways, along with Tim Taranto, in driving some good standards to help try and keep this group together and to really sell the vision to the younger players coming through to make sure they all buy into what we're doing as well. Broady, for a long time, has probably been one of the first picked every week. In some ways, I kind of think he's a little bit underrated, maybe more so externally from the Richmond Football Club. But I know that the supporters are definitely well aware of the importance and how good Nathan Broad is and how valuable he is to us, especially in the back line. But I think in the last year and a half has really stepped up his game as a leader. And with the amount of young kids we're coming through, him setting the standards and creating a good culture and things like that is going to be invaluable. So well done to Broady for getting the nod for the leadership group. Makes complete sense in my eyes. Tim Taranto, it comes as no surprise that he's been elevated into the leadership group. I think that writing's been on the wall for quite a lot of this off-season. Again, he was one that was on the front foot very publicly during the transitional phase of Baker, Rioli, Graham, etc., all leaving, and he actually made a couple of pitches to them from all reports to try and get them to stay, because he kind of believes in the club and the philosophies and where we want to go. Obviously, the players ended up leaving, but I suppose it's now his job to turn his attention to growing and developing these young kids and taking them under his wing and hopefully bringing them up to speed a lot quicker than we would hope for. But yet, Taranto in there seems like a no-brainer. He was probably one of our, well, probably, he was one of our best players last year. And if you had to put an early tip in for a best and fairest, he would be one of the names that would feature heavily if you were to predict the top three. So yeah, good to see Team Taranto in there. Tom Lynch and Jayden Short remaining in the leadership group for 2025. Now, I guess there's going to be some question marks on Tom Lynch with the durability. He's played, 8 games in 2 years. But that aside, and as much as we obviously would love his on-field leadership and have probably missed it the last couple of years, I don't think we can undersell how important he still is off the field. Even from the training clips we've seen so far, where he's taken Josh Smiley under his wing, showing him some forward craft technique with marking and body positioning and things like that. And I know Lynch is fit and firing at the moment, but even if he wasn't, he could still teach all that stuff, and it's such a valuable asset. And obviously he was captain at Gold Coast Suns as well in his younger years, so he knows exactly what leadership's all about, what it takes and what's required. And as much as we want him to be on the field, I'm not against this. I'm not against him staying in as a leader, even if he only played 10 games, for example. Obviously, we hope he plays more, but I think it's still a very smart choice to keep Tom Lynch in. Jayden Short, look, we've said it before, it's no secret that Short, he had probably a year that he'd rather forget in 2024. I'm not gonna hold that against him. He's been a really good servant of the club. He's won a Jack Dyer medal, and I fully expect him to bounce back in 2025. And you can see from the videos that the club's put out from training how vocal he's been, giving direction and really showing good leadership qualities. So I don't know if that's something he's done a lot of previously, or whether he stepped up and matured and grown into this role from last year. But the signs are clearly there that he's enjoying it, he's wanting it, and he's becoming a natural leader. So more than happy for Jayden Short to do that as well. So there you go. They are the club's leaders for 2025. Congratulations again to Toby Nankervis on the captaincy. Well deserved. And another congratulations to Nathan Broad, Tom Lynch, Tim Taranto, and Jayden Short for rounding out our leadership group for 2025. It's going to be an exciting new era. It's a new looking Richmond in a lot of ways. And hopefully these leads can help take us forward, and we can develop and grow it and get bigger and better for 2025. So that's it for today. Make sure you like and subscribe for more Richmond content, and I'll see you for the next video. Go Tigers!